I don't know about the rest of you. I've really enjoyed all the presentations today, and it resonated well with me. I love the SNL sketch of point counterpoint. That was fantastic to kick the day off. Show of hands, who knows what InfraGard is? So quite a few people in the room here. All right, second round, who's an InfraGard member? Now I ask that because I am precluded by NDA with the FBI from identifying members unless they self-identify. So you can see quite a few people in here already know about InfraGard. So what is InfraGard? InfraGard is a concatenated, shortened piece of infrastructure guardians, and I love to add of the galaxy at the end because I'm a big Guardians of the Galaxy kind of guy. But it was created shortly after 2000 to do a public-private partnership sharing with the FBI and private industry. If you can pull up the slide that we did before, I'm not punishing you with slides, it's just right off of the infragard.org, and it tells you about what the sectors are that we are protecting. And if you think about our society in general, the US is not built with security in mind for hiding stuff. If you want to know where a power plant is or a substation is, you just have to follow the power lines. If you want to know where the dams are going to be, you just follow the rivers, right? If you want to know where critical pipelines are, they're identified on the sides of highways, right? Everywhere around us, we tell the bad guys where it's at. So we've got a couple of components that we need to protect from a standpoint of how things work. And you know, we can go into nuclear reactors or anything else as well in terms of stuff to be protected. But we have the physical protection, which I'm glad to see we got a lot of attention on physical protection at this conference, as well as the cyber component, right? So everyone knows about Stuxnet, which changed the world in the 2007-2008 timeframe. And then once that genie came out of the bottle, everybody has to protect stuff. And how do we protect that? The bad guys are really good at sharing their expertise and monetizing it, or nation states are very good at making sure that they have capabilities to go into different things. So the motivations behind it are not just the little script kiddies that are trying to cause challenges now. People want to make money off of it. They do research behind what they do to actually make money off it. So, you know, it's not uncommon for the bad guys to have a budget of $50,000 to go in and investigate an organization to say, hey, I'm going to charge these guys $1 million. The latest numbers I've seen for the typical ransomware type thing is about $2 million, plus or minus a little bit and change. And it's very common to negotiate that down to maybe 35% of what the initial demand is because they want to make something as opposed to nothing, right? So how does being a member of InfraGard help you with ransomware, with any type of attacks, with any kind of denial of service? So a little bit of history. If we wind the clock back about 6 years, the FBI's position on ransomware is don't pay it. If you do pay it, we'll probably criminally prosecute you for supporting terrorism because you're funding a bad organization. Well, you wind the clock forward a little bit, and so many places have been victimized by it. The FBI changed the position on that and said, we're not going to victimize US companies twice by hassling them for doing this. Now, there are some exceptions to paying ransomware as far as it being okay. I think this group probably knows what OFAC is, where you cannot pay to those guys unless you contact the FBI ahead of time and agree to share stuff with them and they can prosecute a case against it. You might be okay to do that. But the FBI has changed its policy tremendously about what they do. They've, roughly 3 years ago, they said, hey, if you get an attack, let us know right away. And we'll do what we can to help mitigate the damage that they've done and build a case. Within the last year and a half, they've come out and said, hey, if you notify us within 24 hours, we may be able to help you get the money back. And in some cases with some cryptocurrencies, they actually got an exchange reversal, right? They haven't shared their methodology with how they do that, but they are absolutely your friend in terms of doing that. And again, when people hear about contacting the FBI for assistance, you know, we're the government, we're here to help. Everyone says thank you, but no thank you, right? That's a very common type of thing. So to do InfraGard membership application, Right now, the portal for it is down. It should be coming up in another couple of weeks. If you apply for InfraGard, it takes anywhere from 3 months to a year to get cleared by the FBI. You're not getting a top secret clearance, you're not getting that, but you are being vetted for the stuff. And I encourage everyone to apply. We have 77 chapters throughout the United States. I know we have Texas and Omaha represented here, as well as Chicago. Apply for that. Be brutally honest on your application, because they already know everything anyways about you. They're just trying to make sure that you're going to tell the truth. And if you're not candid, you'll be permanently banned from joining. And that has happened. So, you know, the organization of InfraGard is not immune to any of the bad guy activities. Several years ago, we had somebody spoof themselves to be a CEO of somebody, and the FBI cleared him, and he went in and took the membership list, which the FBI guards very carefully, right? What I can tell you is, without releasing any details, that individual is going to have a very bad time in the very near future, right? You know, don't whack a hornet's nest if you don't want to get stung, and that's kind of what's happening. So what happened when they did that, we had over 70,000 members in the United States, and that dropped to about half. And our local chapter of Chicago went from 2,100 to 1,000. Everybody had to go through and re-verify themselves because of this activity. And they had put new membership on hold for a while. As the president of InfraGard Chicago chapter, I actually got 400 plus members just re-added, rejoined brand new members to the organization. So, you know, we consider that a success when you consider how long it takes to do that. Now, does the FBI spend 3 months doing your background check or a year doing? No, they don't do that. It's the lowest priority on their list of things to do to clear people to join InfraGard. But why would you want to join InfraGard? What's the benefit of joining InfraGard? So the benefit is it helps the FBI and it helps your individual organization. You're joining as an individual, not a member of a company. You have to be in one of the critical infrastructure groups. I think if you scroll down somewhere, you'll see the critical infrastructure. Keep going. No, go up. Go to the PDF that you had there. Yeah, it'll come up behind me. You have to be in one of the critical infrastructure sectors to do that, and quite frankly, IT is one of those critical infrastructures, so I think everybody in the room is qualified to be in that space, right? Whether you're in a particular industry or not. So what's the benefit? Well, the FBI will share information with us as members that is not classified, but it's also not necessarily publicly available, widely spread. So you will absolutely get some information that other people don't have, or well in advance of other people. And a couple examples that I'll share of that is when the FBI issues a notification to patch a vulnerability immediately, do that off-cycle immediately. And we've had a number of presentations at our local chapter about stuff that they said to patch immediately, and it turns out they were working on a case for 18 months where they were actively using a vulnerability to do something. Once the case was closed from the standpoint of everything being locked up, they said patch it because we don't want the adversaries to use this as well. So that's incredibly helpful information. So why would they go out of their way to share information with us? Well, the only way we beat the bad guys is if we all play together well. And again, the bad guys play together well already. The good guys need to work better at playing together. So part of the bargain with them is we're broken into these critical infrastructures sectors, and the FBI can tap into that talent as they need because they don't have the expertise in every single piece of stuff that's happening. So they'll come in and talk with membership and get a briefing from us on what they may not know, just to confirm everything is true and correct, or they'll just directly interact with some people in that sector to do some stuff. The main benefit of doing InfraGard is the relationships you build. In our local chapter, we have 4 quarterly meetings, which always contains an FBI briefing, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff that is really relevant to our membership for people doing different things. On top of that, we do 2 social events, a winter social and a summer social. The summer social is next week. If anybody's interested and is going to be in Chicago and wants to attend, please see me after the talk here. I can get you some activities for that. And then the biggest thing that everyone likes to do is the FBI invites us to their range, where we get to actually shoot their weapons, and they blow stuff up, and sometimes they bring the helicopter. And if you've never shot a Tommy gun before, it's kind of fun. they don't always bring the Tommy gun, but you use their weapons and they do sniper demonstrations. And again, it's very cool to do that type of stuff. But what really happens is you get to meet people in the FBI. We regularly have the special agent in charge of Chicago, and a lot of his folks attend a lot of our different functions. And you have that ability to reach out and contact them. You don't get a priority in anything because the government can't offer priority service to anybody, but knowing a person there that you can pick up the phone and talk to is incredibly important. I personally contacted them one time. We had an event, and again, as people were talking about things that happen that you can't anticipate and things that are going on, at one of the organizations I was with, we were just going about our normal day, and all of a sudden one of our locations, servers and internet stuff just spiked off the charts. I'm like, what the heck's going on? Turns out they had put a welder in a secure room that contained all our servers, and he decided to set up Bitcoin mining operation on it, right? And so we detected that very quickly, and people always say, what's the dumbest thing you've ever heard? And I'm like, I haven't heard it yet because there's something more that's coming down the road. So we immediately shut it down, and we talked to our senior leadership, and I said, do you want me to get the FBI involved in this? And they said, yes, reach out, find out what's going on. And the FBI will assemble a SWAT team for you to go out there. They won't share their tools with you, but they'll assemble a team to go out and do some investigation. And as I was talking with the agents involved with this, they said, John, are you sure you want us to do this? Because this guy had unfettered access to your equipment. What if he put some other inappropriate stuff on there, like child porn? And I'm like, oh, good God, right? He says, if we find that, we're gonna have to pull the thread on that. And he said, and if we find that, we're gonna have to confiscate all your gear for a court case, and you may lose it for 18 months to 3 years. I said, hang on, let me go back to leadership, talk to leadership. They said, call it off. We'll just wipe everything and start over, right? That advice was worth its weight in gold because we had no idea what we would find, and that's what we did. So that's the value of the relationship with InfraGard. With InfraGard, we also have Secret Service. We also have CISA come and do stuff with us. I don't know if you realize this, but the FBI will come to your location and help you run a tabletop. I certainly encourage people to do a prep thing before that so that you're not completely embarrassed, if they come out and say, hey, you should have done this, this, and this, right? You can work through that type of stuff there. But they're very helpful. We've had support from them for quite a while. I met the previous director, Chris Ray, excellent individual. I have not met the new director or his deputy for that, but they have confirmed their support for InfraGard, which is a concern that we had as membership throughout the United States. They obviously see value to it, and we see value to it. But the only way we beat the bad guys is by working together and cooperating. So we have these interactions where we chat and talk with other people, we get to know people. And as someone mentioned earlier in the conference today, it's always about the relationships. The technical stuff's going to change, but it's always about the relationship. And is there somebody that you know on the other end of the phone when you pick it up to call? So anybody have any questions? I think I'm actually ahead of time for what I was planning on talking about. Anybody have any questions about InfraGard? Anybody have any comments or suggestions of stuff that I or should have covered? Yeah, Dave.
Yeah, it took me, I think it was like 6 weeks to get my membership approved.
Okay.
So it has sped up quite a bit.
Okay.
And the sectors are listed on page 1 if they scroll up.
Yeah, if you scroll up for the guy presenting, yeah. There you go. There's the critical sectors on the left. Thank you very much. Dave is also a member of our chapter since he raised his hand earlier. I can say that, and he has helped with building out what we call the Chicago Security Calendar that's going to be available on our portal for Chicago. We ran into all kinds of trouble with stepping on every other event because people had multiple events in the same week and the same times and stuff like that. So we're building the calendar out so people can go there and see what's going on in Chicago. And it also lists Black Hat and RSA and all that type of stuff so that you don't schedule stuff during those times. But we were having a lot of collisions with other member organizations like ISAC and ISS and so other things. Any other questions, comments? Well, thank you very much.